Now, Peter, a couple of things I found most interesting about you, which I have to say I've only once heard about before. That it says that you were a clergyman.
Yes, I was. I was a clergyman for 12 years in Monmouthshire. I was a Baptist minister, and I resigned really on losing my faith, which was a very traumatic time for me. And it was a strange experience because I suddenly went from this situation where I was extremely well known amongst a circle of people, and suddenly those people, for obvious reasons, found it difficult to have anything to do with me. And it was as if I had to sort of start again. It was as if I had no past. It was a very strange experience.
Yeah. I found that I've only ever met one person before, and he was a Welsh minister, and he didn't actually get to become a minister in full, but he started doing it, and then he just suddenly woke up one day and thought, "What the hell is all this about?" And what I found interesting was the poem that you wrote on I think it's the last one, for Owen Griffith.
God, yes. That's a poem that I would say encapsulates my beliefs. And it was inspired by a philosopher called John Locke, who said that everybody's life is a blank piece of paper, and it's up to us to fill that blank piece of paper. But of course the problem is there are an awful lot of people who want to write on our piece of paper, and they want to shape our lives in their way.
Sorry, Peter, I interrupted you. I find that completely fascinating. And the line in this poem, "Those who monopolise God will leave eternal scrawlings, the shape of ropes. Church, state, school, army are all lined up to rule your page." And this is what, I must admit, I went to church for a long time, and this is what put me off. I just found that they were telling me what to think, when, why, and how.
That's right.
And
I find it extraordinary because I still think that the character of Jesus is a very exciting character, and he seemed to release people to find the kingdom of God within themselves. And I think what's happened now is the church as an institution has taken that role on, and it does it sometimes in a very draconian way. And I think, as you say, it says this is what you have to believe. And it's amazing that Jesus said, if the Son sets you free, you shall be free indeed. And yet the last thing you detect in a lot of churches is freedom, and that's very, very sad.
Yeah. Did you have any funny dreams when you were going through this period of releasing your beliefs?
I didn't really, but it's very interesting that Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher, who it's a very bad press, of course, he coined the phrase "God is dead," and he has a wonderful description in his book Thus Spake Zarathustra, where he says he saw a vision where he was walking alone, and in front of him was a huge chasm, and behind were the Christians singing, and they were beckoning him to come back. And he says in the dream he's in this position where he's delayed and dilly-dallying and wondering whether to go back to the Christian fold or to go on and slip headlong into this huge chasm. And he says he chose to go forward into the abyss. And that was very powerful for me, that vision of Nietzsche, because I felt that I was going into an abyss. I didn't know where I was going. All the safety posters or safety posts and all the pointers that had been such a strength and a source of help to me were gone. And it was a very strange experience.
Yeah, frightening, I would imagine.
Yes, in many ways. And I still respect and admire those people who have a faith.
Yeah.
And I would like one myself, but I find it impossible because I think intellectually I find it very difficult now to believe.
Well, of course, what they say is intellect. You get rid of your intellect, don't you, when you're touching the the outer extremities, if you like. You know, when you're going into the what's the word I'm looking for? The multi-sensory, rather than the five sensory. You have to forget your intellect, which a lot of people find very difficult to do, don't they?
I find that impossible, really, because I think I want my head and my heart to go together, really.
Yeah, they don't, though, do they?
No.
I would love you to read that poem if you would like to.
It's called For Owen Griffith Dodd, Aged 3 Hours. At the end of the labyrinth of pain, you hit the cold world with a knowing cry, welcomed by the warmth from your family's eyes. So, this is it, Owen. The old world laundered in bunches of bright flowers and shiny cards. For you and your new life, the gift of a clean page. Others are waiting to scribble on it. Those who monopolize God will leave eternal scrawlings the shape of ropes. Church, state, school, army are all lined up to rule your page. But it's yours. Keep it for yourself. The page beckons. Fill it with the woven dreams plucked from the myths growing on hills which will nurture you. Colour it with the questions you will ask, the wonder you will find in the plant's delicate lines, the restless surging of the ever-returning sea, the huge unspoken world of the sky's meteors, the joy of running with the wind at your back, the squeeze of the first remembered hand. This is a world waiting to cram your page. Don't fold it up or hide it away, and don't let others fill it. Write it yourself, and let each word dance with the abandon of how right it is to be here.